Hey guys, how are you? Alex here, and I wanted to continue my video series on the emotional recovery from surgery, um, which leads me to the topic of brain mapping. Now, I'm not a scientist, I don't pretend to be a scientist, though I have read a lot of Orson Scott Card, so I'm pretty much an expert on all hard sciences. No, but when I'm talking about brain mapping, what I mean is the physical body that my brain is mapped for, and the ways in which the discrepancies with my brain and with my body. So for me, having top surgery was a lot more motivated by my brain's map than it was by my gender identity. I am male identified, and that piece of living authentically male has been satiated, but it wasn't the driving force behind my surgery. And I know that definitively because here I am 6 weeks post-op, and I have to remind myself that I haven't always been flat-chested. I'm only 6 weeks post-op, and I've rewritten my physical history, my physical narrative, so it's always included a flat chest. But that's not the case. Psychologically, I had to reconcile the fact that there's only so much you can do. There's only so much you can do with having a brain that's mapped for a flat chest when you have boobs. So I think sometimes you can adapt your brain. You can adapt your map, right? Like originally my map did not include gray hair, and I have a considerable amount of gray hair now that I dig, I can adapt that. Some people can't though. My dad, he went bald when he was 15, and he's worn a hairpiece his whole life because his map didn't include baldness. And there's a scientist, and his name is Ramachandran. I think that's how you say it. But he specializes in phantom limb syndrome, and specifically, he's been doing some research on transsexual bodies in phantom limb syndrome. It's been really interesting, and it kind of illustrates brain mapping versus gender identity. So one thing that he was saying is trans women who are post-op don't experience phantom limb syndrome regarding their penis because their brain was never designed for that. Trans men who are post-op don't experience, a trauma when they realize they have a flat chest. The same kind of trauma that cisgender women and cisgender men would experience given that same exact situation. So I see some videos where people are talking about that they're not necessarily male identified, or they're female bodied and possibly even female identified or gender queer, but they're trying to reconcile why they want top surgery. And for me, it's as clear as day. It's just that their brain wasn't mapped for boobs. You can be female bodied, you can be female identified and not have boobs, and it doesn't compromise anything. It just means that your brain wasn't designed for this body. That's all. That's all it means. And sometimes, like I said, you can adapt that. Sometimes you can, like for me, I don't know if I'm penis identified, but I can wear a packy and have enough. I can reconcile that enough to where I don't have a physical trauma. Or a psychological trauma if I have a packy, or and it doesn't even have to be with a packy, but the point is I can sometimes be a little bit more malleable with my map. But with boobs, there was no question. I could not adjust. I could not connect to my boobs. And there was just this immense amount of psychological discomfort and disconnection, and it was traumatizing. Every time I'd go for a run, it was traumatizing. Every time I wanted to get naked with someone, it wasn't that I just had to ignore and completely disassociate from this very specific body part. And having that psychological connection to a rather large part of my body. I mean, we're talking your whole chest. maybe like a fifth of your body. Having the experience of being psychologically connected to that part of my body has been such a cathartic experience that I think every single trans person that needs surgery gets surgery, because I know the amount of healing that it's done for me. Even having a heart surgery, it's been incredibly cathartic. So, yeah, I don't know if that makes sense, but it's a huge piece for me with the emotional recovery, being able to be psychologically connected to my body. So, hope you guys are well. Bye.